Well, folks, marking a significant strengthening of the regional bloc's assertion of the rule of law in the disputed region, ASEAN leaders recently took a position versus China's vast historical South China Sea claims. Calling out China, the Southeast Asian leader said a 1982 UN Oceans Treaty should be the basis of sovereign rights and entitlements in the South China Sea, in one of their strongest remarks opposing China's claim to virtually the entire disputed waters on these historical grounds. The leaders of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations took the position in a statement issued by Vietnam on Saturday on behalf of the 10-nation bloc. ASEAN leaders held their annual summit by video conference on Friday, with the COVID-19 pandemic and the long-ranging territorial disputes high on the agenda. Meanwhile, the Philippines is also surely pushing back against China in the disputed South China Sea, a reflection of revived strategic relations with the United States. Recently, the Philippine Department of Energy started lobbying President Rodrigo Duterte to resume stalled energy exploration in the sea to shore up the nation's sagging energy security and reassert sovereign claims to seabed energy resources contested by none other than China. With China opening many fronts from tensions with India at the LAC to dispute at the South China Sea, the question is if China has stretched itself too thin and can it take all the global pressure that is coming its way. We'll talk about this with our notable guest on the panel. Joining me is Ambassador Vishnu Prakash, former diplomat, Vice Admiral Shekhar Sinha, former Chief Integrated Defense Staff, CINC, Western Naval Command, Major General Dhruv Katoch, Director, India Foundation, Defense and Strategic Expert. Last, and by no means the least, Madhav Nalapat, Professor Madhav Nalapat, Editorial Director for the Sunday Guardian. Right, Professor Nalapat, let me come to you first. Simple question. Is China spreading itself too thin? Are they opening up too many fronts? Is this the decadence that eventually China has perhaps dug for itself?
Well, I'd like to say, Vineet, that they never expected united action by these different countries. Now you'll see, for example, their strategy in the European Union. Countries like Greece, countries like Italy, they win over those countries. And those countries are then used to give a veto against anything that is remotely anti-Chinese. That's why, for example, the European Union usually, as a bloc, comes out very often with some pretty weak-kneed responses to China. The reality of the situation is that the Chinese have really been taken by surprise, including, I think, by the very bold action by Prime Minister Modi of ensuring that 59 Chinese apps are blocked. That is a body blow to China's ambitions of beating the United States in artificial intelligence and becoming the #1 tech superpower of the world. They need Indian metadata. They need full access to the Indian market for that. And they never believed that that kind of access would be affected by their border talks, because they believe that in India, everything is put in silos. You have a border silo, you have a commerce silo, you have a tourism silo, and maybe you have an entertainment silo. And the silos never mix. But as has been said very strongly by General Katoch and Admiral Sinha and Ambassador Vishnu Prakash, these silos are meaningless now, and you have to look upon China and frame a holistic policy. That is what we are now seeing under Prime Minister Modi. And I'd like to say that this is a very significant step. And if other countries take similar steps, it's going to be very difficult for Chinese tech industry to not only forget about beating America, but many of the units may not even survive.
Right. Admiral Sinha, it is said that China perhaps, not only did they underestimate India, they miscalculated our response as well. And like Professor Nalapat also said, that they viewed us differently, that there will be silos, there will be compartmentalization of subjects. That did not happen. And perhaps China is completely perplexed by this particular response.
You're right, Vineet, and Professor Nalapat has, sort of summed it up very well. In fact, I wrote a piece in his newspaper where I had said China is opening its vulnerability on too many fronts. Primarily, China is wanting to tell the world, was wanting to tell the world that we have arrived and we can handle COVID, we can also handle Hong Kong, we can also handle Taiwan, we can handle the South China Sea, and we can handle India. But unfortunately for him, the first sort of blowback he got was from India, because our soldiers who martyred themselves. There are stories of one soldier taking 6 Chinese soldiers before he was martyred, and while he was being martyred, he pulled up another 6 people and rolled with him, so all 6 died. So in India, the armed forces, for them is the tricolor. Izzat is something which they just cannot compromise. And because of the commanding officer of the unit having gone, I guess that General Dhruv Katoch will say more. But you broke one news which is very significant, that the US has cleared the sale of F-35. And they also announced a few days back that the pilots of Japan, India, and the US are being trained together. They will be trained together in the United States. And this happens at the correct time, because the Japanese have already got the F-35 flying from their, the helicopter carrier. So I can see that, the preparation is in a manner that now time is ripe. We are seeing a new world order as far as economic world order and security world order. That's already emerging. Everybody is saying after COVID, what will be the world order? And I think that is just the emergence of the new world order. Should China take any action on Taiwan, or it takes any action, live bombing or sort of firing of weapons in the South China Sea, the carrier task group of the US, which is there with 1 aircraft carrier and large number of ships, they would certainly strike back. And they will strike back quite heavily, because they just cannot let go of Taiwan, and they cannot allow this thing to carry on for so long. And one of the proofs, and India, of course, I've been saying on your channel as well, Vineet, that it is time for us to start interfering with the the trade of the Chinese oil trade and the copper trade, which is passing through our entire sea. You don't have to do anything. You in fact just have to delay and harass. And but you have to be ready that you also have South China Sea being used for your trade. But a lot of people said it is some 2 trillion. It is not so. It is not a heavy amount. So I think that the time has come that China has realized that he has actually preempted his arrival in the world maybe a decade or 2 earlier, because it's not the time for President Xi Jinping. He may have thought that the COVID has actually accelerated his confidence in himself, or false confidence, that he can get better of US. So I think that we are in a very, very shall I say, a critical situation, and this is really going to be. You see the Global Times. Till 3-4 days back, he was saying, we will push you back, we will do this, you will do that. I don't know what the repercussion. Now he's talking about something else. He's just not talking about any offensive statements. He said, if you can fall back on US, you think you can win. So by and large, they are compromising with their earlier stance. And Global Times is the mouthpiece of the party. So is the PLA. PLA is not government, it's the party's army. So I think that we are in for a very, very big change in the world order, actually.
A very big change in the world order, Ambassador Prakash. Even diplomatically, the Corps Commander meeting, the 3rd round, did happen today. The results will be known in a few hours, perhaps from now. But the fact of the matter is that the Chinese diplomacy has also found itself, quite ineffective when it comes to dealing with the situation.
China, I think, first of all, I would compliment Admiral Sinha for, his comment where he says that China declared its arrival on the world scene 2 decades a bit too early. Now, what happens is that when you are an authoritarian state, when you live in an echo chamber where you only hear what you want to hear, then you get lulled into a sense of your greatness and you underestimate the opposition. Now, suddenly, not suddenly, but gradually, there has been this needlessly aggressive tone to Chinese behavior. Not just Chinese behavior with other countries, but even Chinese diplomacy. This wolf warrior diplomacy, which they thought was would intimidate others, is boomeranging. You cannot insult country after country after country, which they are trying to do. Now, even when you are a rising hegemon, what do you try to do? You try to carry countries along with you. You engage in a charm offensive. But Chinese default position is to intimidate countries, to threaten countries. So this does not work. And you were earlier commenting upon the fact that they have opened too many fronts. Now, how can you, if you look around, fact remains that China has only two friends, and both are rogue nations, one to our west and one to China's east. So other than that, they are at odds with practically every country. So that is the difficulty, and somewhere along the line, the things just add up, and you do not anticipate in when you are thinking that you are the quote unquote emperor of, and you are the Middle Kingdom, that countries when pushed beyond a certain point will strike back. And today it would appear that I'm not saying that it is going to happen tomorrow, but countries are dropping their reticence and speaking up. Even now, it will take a while before there are countries speak in one voice. But again, as you mentioned in your opening remarks, the very fact that ASEAN countries till yesterday, who had come to such a pass that they would keep quiet when one of the ASEAN countries was affected, today have at least taken up they have decided to push back. So it's a beginning, and I hope that China gets the message that you cannot push beyond a certain point. You cannot just arbitrarily brush aside all norms of conduct, and you have to abide by the rules of the game.
Right, General Katoch, China perhaps is on the verge of understanding a message which not only has been conveyed by India, but perhaps now the entire world, and as has been articulated by Ambassador Prakash, that slowly and steadily, maybe incrementally, all those countries which have had to bear with China for the past few decades will rise up, will perhaps shed down the reticence that they have shown over the years and speak against China. And this could be viewed as an opportunity for India.
Yes. In fact, the three speakers before me, I agree with everything they say. Just let me give it a particular context. You see, when we are looking at January and February of this year, when parts of Europe were very badly affected with the Wuhan virus, we found when China started, becoming slightly aggressive, you found the European Union actually making sounds that it would take a neutral stance between the United States and China. I think this emboldened these people. So they started making aggressive moves in the South China Sea. They started making aggressive moves against Taiwan. They went along doing what they did in Hong Kong. And when we come to India, you get these intrusions in the month of May. It was certainly an overreach. It was certainly, in my view, as the Admiral stated, a decade early. But I think what the Chinese were doing is they made a gamble. And they were certain that the gamble would succeed. What has really changed that gamble? The change in the gamble came when India said no. You see, on the night of 15-16 June, the events post that, they have enraged the nation, right? We got the better of that encounter, but that is not the point at issue. The point is, why did it start and why were our soldiers killed? Why was the commanding officer killed? Now, that is something which the Indian people were not prepared to accept. It was something which the government of India was not prepared to accept. and it was something which the armed forces were not prepared to accept. Now, I think that changed the scene, and India said no. And since then, India has been saying no. So with that, what has happened is that gamble started breaking. When the gamble started breaking, you found ASEAN coming out with their own statements. Then you find the European Union also now turning. So now when you look at the picture, you find China is getting isolated. They weren't isolated in the month of January and February. They are isolated in the month of July when we come to it tomorrow. And this isolation is increasing. In my view, that gamble hasn't worked. And it hasn't worked because one nation said, we will resist. And once one nation starts resisting, then you find the ASEAN bloc saying, okay, you find the European Union coming together. And now and then, of course, the United States has made its stance very clear right from the beginning. So now you have the United States, you have Europe, you have ASEAN, and you have India. And this is a very formidable bloc. The second point is, the 59 apps are just 59 apps. But much more than the maps, the 100 times or 1,000 times more powerful is the message which that sent. It was the message of the political will. Listen, you cannot get away with this. And I think this is something which will unnerve them. But how President Xi Jinping and his party choose to react, I think that we have to see. In my view, we have still got a long haul overhead. And let's see as to how the events plan out in the month of July, perhaps even August. It is not going to be something which can be resolved within by the talks which are held yesterday. I beg your pardon, with the talks which are going on today. And if it is actually resolved with these talks, I think I personally will be very surprised.
All right, Professor Nalapad, 59 opportunities were created by India yesterday to in fact take a step towards Atmanirbharta. These 59 apps which have been banned, perhaps it is time to have similar models recreated in India. What more can be done at this point in time to make sure that the kind of Chinese presence that we see today is slowly and steadily dissipated and slipped into oblivion?
Why is it that the attack came on India? Because they are worried about India as an alternative platform. The Taiwanese are looking big time at India. And the Taiwanese are actually among the biggest investors in China. The reality is that both the Japanese and the Americans are feeling increasingly uncomfortable in China. And I think it's only a matter of time before they also start leaving China in large numbers. I think you're seeing Apple, for example, is looking at India. So they want to send a message to India. Basically, don't think you're the option. Don't think that, you can ever be equal to us. And that message, that a completely contrary message was started to be sent on the 15th of this month by extremely brave soldiers. And thereafter, the latest message of the Prime Minister and these 59 apps, and may I remind you, some of these apps have got tens and hundreds of millions of users creating a huge amount of metadata. So I think this kind of a message has certainly emboldened ASEAN to be united and to confront China, because if India is standing up against China and the United States is standing with India, it's a big thing. In my view, Vineet, if he hasn't already made the call, I strongly suspect that Defense Secretary Mike Esper of the United States is going to call Rajnath Singh, and I am very reasonably convinced that he's going to offer Mr. Singh a lot of help. What you're seeing about F-35 is just, in my view, the beginning of the kind of help they're going to offer, because for the Americans as well, it's very important that India not only stand up against China, but India prevail in any Chinese move against our countries.
Absolutely. Not only stand up, but we also have to prevail against the Chinese hubris, the bullish behavior that they have been dispensing for so long, not only towards India, but towards other less assuming neighbors as well. We'll slip into a short break on this note. We'll be right back.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.